All righty. What's up, everybody?
What's going on?
I am JP.
I'm Batman. We're starting this off right. Oh shit!
You need to turn
echo.
turn your volume off there.
Well, we know the timing on the delays now. Anyways, JP and Ryan here today, and we don't have James, and we're your CineNerds. You want to tell them the topic today?
Well, let's first, for the people that don't know, let them know that James had a family issue, and so reason it's just Ryan and us tonight. So he will be here. He will be back, hopefully this weekend, or after this weekend. So
be good to have him back. But James, we're with you. We love you, buddy, and hope it all goes well. All right. So, what are we doing today?
We are talking superhero films.
Right.
And I think we were going to discuss what is working, what has worked, what isn't working, what hasn't worked, and maybe just discuss some of our favorite ones.
It's all bullshit.
Fuck it all.
It's all bullshit. You're going to hear a lot of strong opinions on this one with me. I'm sorry, but we're in a bad state. But to JP's point, we're going to definitely talk through what has worked in the past, what's going wrong, and how they're moving forward, and what we like and what we don't like. And I guess I'll start it off with a Scorsese quote. I believe it was him recently, as well as Ridley Scott, who said Scorsese specifically said that hero movies aren't cinema. Ridley Scott said something to that same effect also, and I understand why, because they're older directors. They don't like CGI heavy. It's not their era.
I understand why. I also agree and disagree.
Same here.
I mean, I think that there is cinema there when it's done right. Now, unfortunately, Marvel's just as guilty as DC. A lot of the films haven't been right.
But let's be honest, though. What was done right, Marvel did far better. In the live action world.
Okay.
Animation. Okay. Now Marvel's making a comeback, which we'll talk about with X-Men 97 for sure. But DC, they're crushing it in the animated front. There's just no way around it. DC, I don't understand why DC didn't take a note out of their animation department and use that to apply to the structure of their movies, because damn, they're good.
I think DC's still done a lot of great live action films, though.
Like?
Well, Watchmen.
Okay. So, yes, I will give Watchmen all the credits due, because Watchmen's brilliant.
Constantine.
Okay, yeah, but these are also started off as like independent ones that merged with DC later. So I can give those ones credit for sure. But outside of that, though, like, I think I'll give a little bit of love to some of the Batman movies, of course. I'll give a little bit of love to maybe Aquaman, the first one, a little bit. Give a little bit more recently Blue Beetle. I thought that was one of the better showings, but I also feel like I'm holding that against the low bar.
That's a pretty low bar. I enjoyed it too, but it's a low bar.
But that's the only reason I feel like I enjoyed it, because I was forced to, because all the other shit was crap before that. So, yeah.
Well, I'm probably the opposite. So for you guys tonight, even though James isn't here, me and him are probably going to be opposites tonight, because I grew up a DC fan, and I'm sure you grew up a Marvel fan.
Yes and no. Depends on the characters.
See,
I'm character specific.
This is what I grew up reading. You know, I'm not even going to talk about film right now. So what made me fall in love with comic book films was obviously comics. And so what I grew up loving was essentially Superman, Batman is what got me into comics, but very specifically Superman. But then once I got a little older, one of my favorite comic book characters of all time is obviously the Green Lantern.
I thought you were trying to flex. I didn't know what was going on.
My Green Lantern tattoo. I'm a huge Green Lantern fan, and I am a huge X-Men fan. I was never a big Marvel comic fan with really anything else other than X-Men. Like, I love X-Men, but I was never an Avenger fan. I was never a big Spider-Man fan. I was a little bit of a Spider-Man fan just because of Venom, only because my other favorite book was Spawn, which was Todd McFarlane, and Todd McFarlane did Venom. So,
Venom, perfect example of Marvel messing up something good. If you know the Venom storyline, you know how Peter Parker came to acquire the symbiote suit in the Secret Wars. So that was like a very, very crucial storyline for me when I was a kid reading these comics. And when I saw Spider-Man 3, that's when I started losing faith really quick in Marvel, because when the symbiote just crashes to Earth and lands up next to the bike that Peter Parker's sitting by, I about lost my mind. Anyways, I digress.
they also had the emo dance scene.
Yeah, well, there's a whole lot in Spider-Man 3 we know is horrible. But all right, so before I start bashing, because JP brought up a very valid point, there's a lot of positives. So let's talk about the good stuff that we see in movies and give examples.
Well, first and foremost, if like we said before we start, let's just start with Marvel. Let's start with Marvel.
Okay.
Positives. The number one thing for me right now, X-Men 97. Just period. The end. X-Men 97 is the best thing that Marvel has, in my opinion, done.
I won't say done, but God damn, am I happy that that's present right now in the Marvel world so that we can feel good about something again. Because it's been rough, but the way they approached the X-Men 97, bridging off of the old X-Men cartoons, carrying that torch, that story, even the same animation, some of the old same actors came back. Everything was done perfectly. It was more catered to an adult audience, which are the people who grew up with it. This is the one instance where I felt like Marvel really did their homework, listened to the fans, and knew that a large majority of their fans are the people who grew up with them and these comics and these storylines, not just the new. A lot of this is a cash grab to me. A lot of this is them trying to get the next generation, which totally understand, totally makes sense. I've discussed that before. I don't like the whole fanboys getting upset about that aspect, because there is, I do want newer, younger kids to enjoy movies. However, I also feel like it's bad because, like, if a kid goes and they set Ricola, that's my ADHD, sorry. Anyways, if a kid sees, let's say, Iron Man for the first movie they ever see, or any of the hero movies that are out today, the enormity of CGI and them seeing that as a standard for what they view as a movie, it's kind of crippling in a little way. But at the same time, it brings that to those kids at least. So positives for Marvel for me. You got X-Men 97, fine. I won't put it up there as my top, but it's for now, yes.
For me, as such a huge X-Men fan, and that's just top tier X-Men storytelling, and it was
For sure.
It was just, for me, it was almost perfect. It was as perfect as an animated series could be.
Well, I feel like in the beginning of Marvel, in 2000, the MCU, in 2008, when things really kind of got rolling, I feel like they did it right. I feel like they did I feel like they did character development. I feel like you grew with these characters. It wasn't just thrown in your face. And so to me, that's part of the whole allure to Marvel. Reading those comics, like we were talking about growing up, every issue was, 30 pages roughly, if you were lucky. And those pages unfolded a story in detail, and you get one issue a month, and it kept going. And you had to buy this comic to keep going with this character and grow with this character. And then fast forward to movies, and it's like, oh, here's everything all at once, and you have to keep up. And that shit bothers me really bad. Like, there's no element of approach anymore. It's just being mass produced, and it's not fun.
Well, and X-Men isn't the only positive I've got. I mean, I think what James Gunn did with Guardians of the Galaxy, that was fantastic. Just the casting alone for Chris Evans as Captain America was perfect. And Robert Downey Jr. I mean, they've made leaps and bounds improvements from where they started. I mean, and this is a company that, and I don't know if a lot of our viewers know this, but in the 90s, Marvel was going bankrupt. They were going bankrupt. They were about to cease to exist, and it was X-Men when they sold the rights to Fox for X-Men that saved Marvel.
Which in a lot of ways, those properties being sold over to Fox, not just X-Men, but Deadpool. I'm having a brain fart. Sorry. Fantastic Four, right?
They sold Fantastic Four. Anything mutant they sold. So anything
Right.
X-Men mutant and Fantastic Four, Spider-Man to Sony.
Which all these things as a whole, I feel like we got, because it wasn't Marvel and Disney, we did get a little bit of a darker edge to those, and I was grateful for that.
And it was it New Line? They sold Blade too. Was it New Line Cinema?
Yeah, that's right.
So,
and
we can't forget to mention Blade. Blade was really what started it for Marvel and film. So,
but all those components, Marvel had something very magical in the beginning, and now, no, we're staying positive. This is the positive portion. I'm trying. I'm sorry. It's really, anyways. So some of my favorite movies with Marvel. Let's go with that. Wolverine. The way first of all, I was a bitter little shit when they cast Hugh Jackman. I was like, this guy's too big, he's too tall, he doesn't have the right attitude, he's this. I was so shitty about it.
You wanted Glenn Danzig, didn't you?
No, actually, you're gonna laugh. It's not far off. Henry Rollins.
Henry Rollins is just as big, as tall as Hugh Jackman, isn't he?
No, not at all.
Really?
He's smaller.
Okay.
He's like maybe 5'9", maybe 5'8". So he's smaller than you. And he's got that like that grunt to it, but his Rollins is not a master actor by any means, so that would not have gone far. But I felt like he had the right, vibe. Hugh Jackman though blew me away. You see, again, this is character development. You see him sitting in a bar, and that was actually the X-Men movie, wasn't it?
Yeah, it should have been. Yeah, it was the first X-Men
right
film.
And so you see him sitting in a bar. He's defeated almost. He's depressed. He's Logan, but you genuinely feel his anger, his everything in that moment. In that bar scene really defined Hugh Jackman's character for me, Wolverine. I was like, okay, I can get down with this, and it kind of grew on me. So I will say this: I have so much. I hope it's not misplaced. I have so much faith in my soul for the Wolverine Deadpool movie. Bringing back whatever has become a skeleton of Marvel. So, yeah.
Who do you, and I know a lot of people's going to hate this question or even opinions on this question. Who you think would make a good replacement for Hugh Jackman? Because it's going to happen. It has to happen.
Well, so if what I'm hearing is correct, there's a lot of guest spots and a lot of alternate versions of actors that are in the Wolverine Deadpool movie. I know it's Deadpool Wolverine, but I'm saying Wolverine first. Sorry. And one of the ones I keep hearing is Daniel Radcliffe.
That one's been a rumor for a while.
And so I'm not opposed, because I feel like because of what I learned with Hugh Jackman, I've always wanted to see a movie executed first before I judge. I don't, because who knows? Maybe he'll be fucking amazing. I don't know. But if you were to say someone for you, who would it be?
Scott Eastwood.
Which one's Scott Eastwood?
It's Clint Eastwood's son.
Really?
Mm-hmm. He's in the first Suicide Squad. He's
looking him up right now.
Yeah, look him up. Put some chops on Scott, because I always thought a young Clint Eastwood, would have made a perfect Wolverine growing up. And I think Scott Eastwood, you put some sideburns on him.
If I'm being honest, he's too pretty.
Well, they said the same thing about Hugh Jackman. They said he was too pretty.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. I guess I want somebody who's like more like angry. Like
I mean, if I'm being honest, who I really want is Wolverine outside of Scott Eastwood.
I don't know where you're going. Don't even say it.
Danny DeVito.
Oh my God, that's not what I thought you were gonna say. I thought he was gonna say Walton Goggins.
That's not a bad pick either. But listen, I'll be real. I mean, I think And this is why I agree that Hugh Jackman needs to be replaced. Is he's too old. He's played the character for what 25 years,
And he knows that.
And they need somebody for longevity to do a new X-Men. So he has to be replaced. Scott Eastwood's a good age, but if you're gonna say Walton Goggins, yes, I will put Walton Goggins in any role. However, Walton Goggins is probably close to he's not quite as old as Hugh Jackman, but he's up there in age too. He's too old to carry that role for longevity.
He's already been a character in MCU. He was in Thor, but Carl Urban was somebody that I initially would love to see.
He's another one I think would have been great, but I think he's a little too old for longevity.
Shut up.
I mean, I'm just
no, I get it, and I mean, ideally, we're gonna find someone young. What's the kid from Egon? Fuck, I'm having a brain fart. He was in the like James Bond kind of style movies.
Oh,
Egon Tarleton or Targeton or.
Oh, that's not who I was thinking of. I was thinking of what's his name?
Taron Egerton.
Okay. I was thinking of Dylan what's his name? Dylan O'Brien.
Okay. Not placing the name.
He was in the Maze Runner movies.
Okay.
He was the main guy in the Maze Runner movies. He was in the Teen Wolf series, which I always thought he would make, not to jump from Marvel, I always thought he would make a great Terry McGinnis Batman.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Okay. By the way, that's a storyline that needs to be explored by DC. You have to do this Batman Beyond storyline at some point here, while we still have Michael Keaton, while we still have some of the classics that could fill those older roles that are from the cartoon, to really give that training to the younger buck. And I mean, the Batman Beyond cartoon is one of the best cartoons that was out there. It was so good.
Well, and I've got that signed Bruce Timm lithograph of Batman Beyond in my living room.
I'm a little jealous.
I'm a huge Batman Beyond fan.
There's a lot of what if possibilities, not referencing the Marvel what ifs, but to that point, and we were talking about Wolverine and Deadpool. Do you think, and I only say this because the Ant-Man giant head in the trailer, do you think we're going to see Marvel zombies in Wolverine and Deadpool?
I think if Ryan Reynolds has time in the story to do it, he will do it, but I don't think we'll see it.
I'm perplexed and curious about Wolverine's world. This version, this alternate Wolverine, he did something to condemn his world, whatever he did. I don't know, but it's alluded to in the trailer. So I'm wondering if there's some kind of crossover with the zombies in that way, and it happened in his own world. So
it could be.
I don't know. Speculation, all speculation.
We had hoped we got it in Doctor Strange, and we see where that went.
Yeah, that was a little rough.
Yeah.
Now that the first Doctor Strange, that's one of those better movies to me.
Well, I still love the second one too, but just the nostalgia that Sam Raimi put in it, the little nods and stuff.
Yeah.
But I was let down on the fact that there was so much more they could have did with that film.
The first one, for me, also embodied that moment like I had with Logan in the X-Men movie, where you had the character develop and you understood why he was so crushed, why he was trying to go back to save his love, and why he learned these powers, all these things that he went through to try and become this person. And I appreciated that. I thought that was great storytelling.
No. And I know I've said this before on the previous episodes, but and I think with Deadpool Wolverine coming out, with Disney doing a R-rated film,
we'll see how that goes.
We'll see how that goes. But with Born Again coming, Daredevil Born Again, and my favorite,
John Baratheon,
Punisher, coming, because everything Marvel did with the Punisher, with his Punisher Netflix series Punisher, was top tier.
So since we're talking about what Marvel's done right to that point, when they decided to put Daredevil, Punisher into this MCU and bridge it over, they did it right. That was something they did right, and that was a smart call. I'm glad they're taking their time with this, and I want it to come out right. It's supposed to be like 18 episodes, too.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a long
run. But me, personally, like, there hasn't been a bad Punisher actor for me. The movies.
No,
and the
I
show,
love Dolph Lundgren. I love Thomas Jane. Ray Stevenson was good.
But John Barenthal, he definitely embodied the character, fully embraced it, and he's my Punisher.
Yeah.
He's awesome.
He's my Punisher, and that's just the perfect series. Yeah.
What do you feel about the build up and the back and forth as the MCU unrolled from 2008 to say just before pandemic? Well, how do you feel that escalated? How do you feel? Do you feel like it went in the right direction? Do you feel what elements were good? What was bad? What takeaways you got?
So basically up to Endgame, or kind of Endgame, or even Spider-Man.
Was that phase 4 or
something, 3 or 4, something like that? For me, it was fantastic considering we didn't have X-Men in the MCU. That was always missing for me personally, because like I said at the beginning of the episode, X-Men was the only Marvel comic that I loved. So with X-Men not being in the MCU through that time period, it was a really hard, that made a really hard watch for me. But with them not having the rights to do X-Men, I think the build up, there was some crap movies in there. And let's just not sugarcoat it. There was some crap movies that they did in that build up, but the build up to Endgame was damn well near as perfect as it could be.
Right, I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. Going out of Endgame, you could tell they were tapped. You could tell there was not a lot of momentum beyond that. The Spider-Man movie was a No Way Home. Was that the one?
The one after Endgame was,
or Homecoming?
Well, Homecoming was the first one.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm mixing up the homes.
I can't remember.
Yeah. So
the third, the second or third one. Third one was the one that came out right after Endgame.
No, it was the second one with because they're on the bus, and the third one was the one where all the 3 Spider-Mans were together.
Yeah.
Was that after Endgame?
Mm-hmm.
My timeline's messed up.
Yeah.
Too much saturation in hero movies. Just exactly our point.
Because you had the third Spider-Man, and then you had Doctor Strange.
The third Spider-Man, for all intents and purposes, the way that they brought all 3 together was done very well. I was actually very pleased with that.
It was a lot of fan service, but I didn't think it was a great movie. But the fan service in it was what made it great.
So for me, I agree to a certain extent, but I do think that the way that we got Tobey and Garfield back, the way they delivered consistently on screen, fan service or not, it opened up a lot of possible doorways.
Well, the fan service with them was the only reason I really enjoyed the movie.
Okay.
Like between the little cameo with Murdoch, Daredevil, and then everything with all 3 Spider-Mans and all the cast from previous films, and all the fan service. All the fan service in that film was top tier, but the overall storyline.
Let me ask you this. So out of the X-Men movies, tell me about those for you. What did you take away from those? Did you like them? Did you not? Do you want to see something different as we get our new X-Men?
I want to see something different. Now, I enjoyed, even though almost every X-Men film let me down in the Fox universe, I enjoyed all of them. Even the bad ones. I mean, like X-Men 3, Last Stand was rough. It was rough. Come on.
Wait, am I thinking of the right one? No, I'm not.
The one with Phoenix.
Yeah, no, that one. Yeah, no.
X2 is great. That's probably the one you're thinking of.
No, which one is the one where they where it had it crossed over? Or no, it was one of those, one of the newer X-Men where we saw Bishop in the film. They had all the future.
Oh, Days of Future Past.
Days of Future Past.
Days of Future Past is great. But the weakest ones was X3 and maybe even First Class. Because I kind of really liked Apocalypse and I kind of really loved Days of Future Past. I even, as watered down as Dark Phoenix was, I still enjoyed it.
I didn't watch it. I'm not gonna lie. I was so disgusted at that point that I couldn't watch it.
New Mutants was a letdown, a complete letdown, because it should have been rated R. It should have been more of a horror film, but the whole ending of it kind of made that film for me. So I kind of enjoyed New Mutants as well.
Interesting take on that one.
And then obviously Wolverine Origins was a hard pill to swallow.
Okay.
Yeah, with Deadpool.
What do you think about Logan?
Logan's fantastic.
Okay, good.
Yeah, no, yeah. Logan's probably the best thing we got X-Men wise.
I agree. It was so phenomenal.
Even better than Deadpool and Deadpool 2.
So you've heard me talk about Wolverine or Logan. For me, and JP and I have talked about this, he was an X-Men comic guy. My first comic ever was Wolverine. From the time I was 6 years old and on. Actually, the same age at 6 when I saw Return of the Jedi for the first time, and I also discovered Wolverine, and I was hooked. I just love. There's something amazing about this angry man with steel claws, at least steel to a 6-year-old at that time. And I would, anything I get my hands on, I'm not going to lie, I stole a shit ton of comics when I was in high school. Like, I would just walk in and I did it in money. So that was the only way I could read comics for a certain time. That was like grocery store style. Now, rewind, there was 2 comic book stores, though, I would never steal from because they were just awesome. There's this one, I cannot remember the name of it for the life of me, that was in Rocky River here in Cleveland, and it was, I want to say it was like right by the little Beechwood Plaza they have there. But regardless, I go in there, and the vibe that people get when they go to a barber shop and they all sit around and chat, that was the vibe you had when you went to this comic book store. So we talk about everything. I remember chatting through the death of Superman. I remember chatting through all the comics as they come out. Every week on Wednesday was like a ritual. We'd all go there and we'd chat through these things, and it was awesome, and tell each other about new different comic storylines. So what Wolverine sparked it all for me.
Yeah. All righty. So we'll move on. Or you got anything else for Marvel?
Let's go to DC.
Let's go to DC.
Yeah, because we got a limited window, and this is the topic we could go for a long time about.
And we still got to get to what we don't think works, and that could get
that's
long.
Get dicey.
Yeah. So, what worked for you in DC?
The animation. You saw the success of. You know what? I'll take it back. I enjoyed. I did talk about this earlier. Batman films, they work. I'm talking about the recent era with the Batman vs Superman and all that, and Aquaman, and they tried to bring it up to Justice League. That was the shit show for me. But I liked pretty much most every instance of Batman, despite some people's opinions. There's some that can't stand the Batman and Robin. There's some that can't. But I loved all those. More recently, the one that I did like that worked well was Joaquin Phoenix's Joker. I thought that was brilliantly done. I definitely was structurally equivalent to what's the other De Niro movie?
Taxi Driver, or not Taxi Driver, but
even De Niro knew it too. It was like a
Kings of Comedy.
Yes. So there were so many elements of it that were done right, and Joaquin Phoenix definitely he just delivered on all fronts. I wasn't sad about any part of that.
Is it how are you saying his name?
Jacquin?
Is it not Joaquin?
Joaquin. Let's call him Jay.
How about let's just make it simple, because before he changed his name, he was Leaf. His name was Leaf.
Shut up.
His name was really Leaf Phoenix. Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, regardless though, so that all worked well for me. Those elements, and obviously I'm leaning towards a darker element of the DC side of things. I like the casting as well. I like casting as far as DC. I just don't like execution of how it came through. And you know what? Your favorite movie, your favorite character, Green Lantern. I'm not gonna lie. I don't care what anyone says. I don't hate the Ryan Reynolds.
Well, this is the thing with the Ryan Reynolds Green Lantern is Ryan Reynolds was kind of perfect casting. If you wasn't going to have Nathan Fillion play Hal Jordan, then I think Ryan Reynolds was the next perfect pick. But it suffered from a horrible storyline. I think casting wise, it was great. And what works for me, like everything animated that DC has done, all the way back to the early 90s with
sorry, Rick, Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah.
I like how you spelled that out like a wah.
Even all the way back to the early 90s with the Batman animated series, the Superman animated series, the Justice League and Justice League Unlimited, even all the way back as far as those animated series to current, like the New 52 animated series with the Super Sons, and you got Batman, the Damian Wayne Robin with Batman and Justice League, and I can't remember. There's so many of them now. I can't remember all the titles. I think there's like there's the Apocalypse one. There's the Constantine stuff, like the Justice League Dark. All that stuff is great.
Serious question, because I ventured a long time ago to try and watch all the DC animated in order.
Yeah,
I got maybe halfway through, and then I sort of fell off, and I haven't gone back, and I got to get back to it. But
I have watched them all in order.
Well, my question for you is this: one of my favorite story arcs ever told in DC is Blackest Night.
Mm-hmm.
Did they do that in some fashion? No, we need that.
But you get. Have you watched the two Justice League Dark films?
I believe, yeah, I did watch that,
because the second one
that goes more in the magic world, right? Yeah.
Especially the second one where Earth is just completely, basically destroyed by Darkseid, and it's Constantine has to save everybody. But great films.
What? So you said Darkseid, so now I got to go there.
Yeah,
the Justice League film that was released in the Snyder Cut. Opinions.
Theatrical was garbage. The Snyder Cut was damn well near a masterpiece, as close to a masterpiece as he could have gotten. And I'll just say I'm not a big Zack Snyder fan, especially after Rebel Moon, because fuck that movie.
I disagree. I like Rebel Moon.
Horrible movie. And I won't even watch the second one, and I've heard the second one's even worse.
I heard it's even better. I heard it makes up for the first ones where it fell short. So to me, I watched the Snyder Cut an hour at a time. I did it like a series, and you know what? I appreciated it a lot from that. But as far as a movie, nope. I'm fucking real. Like, why? This is where I've vented about this numerous times before, and I'll get back to it when we go to the shit we don't like. But the editing situation in this fucking industry is stupid, and I know that was the point for this, but I watched it in baby steps.
So, but more so than anime, since we've kind of you just kind of said animation. Their films have been problematic. I mean, it's just Zack Snyder sucks. I'm gonna say it. I don't care. Everybody wants to say save the Snyderverse.
I don't want that.
I loved Henry Cavill. I love Batfleck. I love the cast. I love Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. But let's just be real.
The director
I even enjoyed the films. I love Man of Steel. I did enjoy the films. But the directors sucked. The editors sucked. Don't save the Snyderverse. Let's let James Gunn save the DCU.
He's not going to save shit. He's going to make it worse.
James Gunn, no.
I don't think it's going to go well.
I think it's going to be fine. And I will make this argument for everybody, because since I'm on the soapbox of Zack Snyder kind of sucks, and he ruined a lot of films that could have been great. Everybody mad that Henry Cavill isn't coming back for James Gunn.
I'm good with that.
I'm good with it. And anybody that wants to argue, well, he's the perfect Superman, I'm going to say, and this is my other positive for DC, is if Henry Cavill is your favorite Superman during this modern time, then you really missed out, and you obviously did not watch Superman and Lois, because Tyler Hoechlin, or however you say his last name, is the most perfect Superman we have had since Christopher Reeve. He's a much better Superman than Henry Cavill, and you got 3 seasons of him being Superman and a fantastic Superman. And I urge you, plead with you to go watch Superman and Lois, because that series is fucking phenomenal, and it's one of the better things that DC has done live action. Period.
Well, first of all, Jeremy, what were you saying with how can you say that when Idris Elba exists? I don't know what that was referring, so let me know. And then also the Rick and the Whole Damn Enchilada podcast just mentioned, a big thing that I'm excited for as well is Superman, the new Superman being filmed here in Cleveland.
Yep.
So I'm looking really, really forward to that. I hope a lot of good things from that. Now, I spoke to Gunn being, I feel like DC is almost unsavable at this point. I'm hoping not. I'm hoping that when I watch these films, I'm like over the moon about it and I'm fucking happy, but I don't
This is all I'm
jaded.
This is what I'm going to say about James Gunn. Number one, I'm a huge James Gunn fan. Anyway, I was a huge James Gunn fan before Marvel because he worked for Trauma Films. He wrote Romeo and Juliet. He did another one of my favorite horror films, Slither. I love Slither.
Slither is awesome.
He did the Super. He's done so many great films.
But he copied up Night of the Creeps, whatever.
Doesn't matter. It was still great.
Yes.
He went to Marvel. He's proved what he could do in Marvel. But when he came to DC, he did the second Suicide Squad film, which I thought was fantastic. It was a fun film. But more so than that, James Gunn took not even a B character. He took like a C or D or maybe even an F character that nobody's ever heard of. I don't know who Peacemaker is. And put John Cena in a role as Peacemaker, did a TV series, and the TV series Peacemaker is fantastic.
I agree.
Yeah,
and that one's good.
So I have a lot of faith in James Gunn.
I'm not gonna knock James Gunn all day, and he's got an amazing neighbor. Do you know who his neighbor is? Mark Hamill. They discovered they were neighbors later on, and Mark Hamill didn't know who he was, so it was a whole fun thing. But I don't know where DC is going to go. I hope it's a good thing, and I am laughing, by the way. Jeremy said he was referring to the previous comment.
I think he was saying Idris Elba's hot.
Yeah, and he said Ryan and Hugh being every man's secret man crush. And
Jeremy, you're not wrong.
Idris Elba's hot. Not hero movie related, kind of maybe. I am of the opinion that I think Idris Elba deserves a shot at the next 007. That was
my top pick.
I would love.
I wanted to see him as James Bond. He was.
Did you see Luther?
I've never watched Luther. I've wanted to, but I never have.
Show.
But I've wanted to watch it because I love him as an actor.
He's so good.
And the Whole Damn Enchilada podcast just wrote that they did not know that Gunn worked in Trauma. And yeah, he worked in Trauma films for a while. That was where he got his start. So
usually on these episodes, James sits back and laughs at us and says we're idiots because he doesn't he knows Batman and then he just is like whatever. But he'll read the comments, so we're trying to keep up as we go. So sorry, guys.
And and DC still has, going back to the animated stuff. The Green Lantern stuff, the animated movies that they done in the Green Lantern. Top tier. The last one, Behold My Power. It was about Jon Stewart's Green Lantern. Fucking amazing. And the first one, with Hal Jordan, was amazing. The animated, that's where DC has it locked down at. I think the Arrowverse was okay for a little while. It got stagnant.
There was a rinse and repeat to that for sure.
Yeah.
But like that Supergirl, the Superman that came out of that.
Well, and that's the one in Superman and Lois, Tyler Hoechlin. Right. I think, like I said, I stand by that comment. He is the best Superman since Christopher Reeves.
What's his name? Superman Returns.
Brandon Routh.
Yes,
I love Brandon Routh too.
I loved him, and I loved when we did Crisis on Infinite Earths in the Arrowverse.
Where he played the Kingdom Come Superman.
Yes,
I love that.
And it was so spot on. It was great. All of Smallville Superman came back for that. It was such a good
Tom Welling. Yeah,
and so this is again, you've got better stories being told in the Arrowverse and the animation than you do on the big screen, and that's a problem.
Well, even if you go back to Smallville was fantastic. And if you're a fan of Smallville, then you'll love Superman and Lois, the series, because it's essentially a more grown up Smallville, more modern, with a better Superman.
I can see that.
Yeah.
I only watched the first season
Mhm.
of Lois and Clark, and
Not Lois and Clark, Superman and Lois.
Superman and Lois. Sorry,
Yeah.
Mixing up Superman's.
Yeah, because we don't want to talk about Dean Cain.
I won't diss him.
I'm not going to diss
He's
him.
probably
But
my lowest ranked, but he's not. I don't think.
I don't know.
Bad.
Did you ever watch the Superboy TV series that came out in the 80s?
Maybe.
That was be my lowest.
Okay, well, I'm not including Superboy. I'm talking Superman. But no, as far as what was it? I saw it was a meme, and it was talking about they're complaining about the new casting, and they were saying that he's I think he is one of the tallest or shortest. What was it? One way or the other. Anyway, no, they were saying that he was one of the shortest Supermen. And they didn't do the meme accurately because Dean Cain was definitely the shortest.
Yeah, no, he was the shortest, and they even put his boots. They had like thick bottoms on them to make him taller. Yeah.
Lifts.
Yeah,
lifts.
But there's still good. Like I said earlier at the beginning of the episode, Watchmen. You got Constantine. Some of those early DC films were good. Even The Losers was good.
So many of these are solid and amazing films, but they're not because they're not tied to the core. That's where you don't think about it like that.
The unfortunate thing that makes the DC horrible is the fact that they did not have somebody worth a damn to do something cohesive like Kevin Feige did the first, I don't know, we'll say 10 years of Marvel MCU. They didn't have anybody to really put that together. Now we got James Gunn. You don't have a lot of faith in him. I already tell, but I have a lot of faith that he's gonna get it together for us. But
I hope so.
I hope so. But that's the only issue with DC. I think the stories are there. They're just not putting a cohesive story and making good films.
Well, that's the thing too. Like, so DC, when they started doing the whole process of building up the Snyderverse or the Justice League, essentially, is the versions we got. I felt like they saw a successful formula with Avengers, and they realized how behind they were,
and they jumped to it.
It was like now, and the spewing pile of shit that ensued afterwards is what starts my infuriation.
Yeah, they didn't, and I get it. That was probably Warner Brothers telling Snyder, it has to be out there now. We got to get this done now.
Yeah, we can't be behind. We're too far behind already.
And they should have just been more patient.
Sacrifice story. They sacrifice building. They sacrifice all the character development you need to have it be essential.
Okay, so we're getting into the negatives now. So let's.
I was starting to move along.
Well, let's just move. You want to stay into DC and go negative and come back to Marvel?
I can just lump it all together, honestly, because it's similar to me.
Yeah. So what's not working? Obviously, what we're talking about, the cohesive story, the actual structure of anything in DC, it just sucks. Hopefully, James Gunn fixes it. And I lost my train of thought. So,
all right, I got you. So here's the deal. And you can attribute some of the numbers that you're seeing to the pandemic itself and how it affected box offices. But basically, since Endgame came out, the numbers have, if you look at a graph, the numbers just go like this. The attendance, audience of people coming out, the amount of crap we're getting in the stories, it's just unfolding in a bad way. And hear me out when I say this. So please listen through, because I'm not saying this to piss off the ladies out there. But this whole bullshit where everyone feels they need to have a female-fronted everything, all of a sudden, it's adding to the problem. And I don't say it in a negative. I say it because the successful ones, especially Avengers, and especially with Endgame, you had balance. You had women and you had male characters, and they kicking ass together. And that brings people in. But when the majority of your fan base are us, essentially a bunch of us, and younger kids who are just starting to grasp onto this, it's just not as appealing to that fan base. I'm sorry if it comes across wrong, but that's why you're not seeing the numbers deliver at the box office. When they bring that balance back into play, for me, I see that when you have both sides of the coin, I always see a successful formula, I feel.
Well, and to go off what you're talking about, that is one of the biggest negatives I have with Marvel right now is everything has an agenda, some kind of political correct agenda. And personally, I don't mind. I don't care. I'm not going to be.
It's got to be a good story.
It's got to be a good story. But even more so than that, this is how I see it. Everybody needs representation. You need to have a Hispanic superhero. You need to have a black superhero. You need to have a female superhero. You need to have.
But we have that.
A, B, C, D, all the way to X. However, when you have something like the Marvels that is coming out and saying, well, we're not making this movie for you. Then it bombs. And then they come out, well, you didn't like this film because you're sexist. Well, no, make your mind up. Are you making a film for females or are you going to make a film for everybody? Because I agree. I think if you're going to make a film for young girls that love superhero stuff, make a film for young girls and promote it as that. Not every comic book fan has to go watch it and enjoy it. I will say this, and I'll probably get a lot of hate from you guys in our chat and comments over this, but I watched Miss Marvel.
I was just going to talk about Miss Marvel.
I watched Miss Marvel. I generally love Miss Marvel. But
I agree.
I loved it for.
I agree.
Yes, I loved it for the idea that series was geared towards young teenage girls, and it was made. It was made that way. It was fun. I watched it, and I was like, I enjoy this, and I enjoy it as the idea that this was made for a younger generation of young girls to have a superhero that they can identify with. And I was like, I love this.
Well, I didn't just love it for that aspect. I loved it for the cultural aspect too.
Exactly.
The cultural element was delivered so well, and it was broke out well in a story way, and it was appealing to a younger female audience for sure. And I love that. What I didn't like was when you we had more character development out of Miss Marvel than we did fucking Captain Marvel in
100%.
And I think that took away a lot of that for me. Like Miss Marvel's supposed to be this like grand badass, and it's like she just comes off as like a see you next Tuesday every time I see her on screen.
Yeah, and the only reason I watched the Marvels, and I didn't go to the theater to watch it, I watched it once it hit digital. The only reason I even watched the Marvels was because of Miss Marvel, because I like Miss Marvel, and that was the only reason I watched the Marvels, because I could care less about Captain Marvel or
I haven't watched the Marvels and I haven't watched Madam Web.
I have no desire to watch Madam Web. I probably won't even watch that one, honestly, and it's not because of any other reason other than Sony has fucked everything up that they have done in this whole Spider-Man universe that they're trying to build. They have fucked everything up outside of no, I'm not talking about the animated. Okay. I'm not talking about the animated, but all the live action stuff they have fucked up, except for the Spider-Man films. And the only reason they're not fucking up the Spider-Man films is because Disney is on their ass saying you have to do this, you have to be this. Venom is not good. I don't care. Tom Hardy's great as Venom. Venom is not good. Venom 2. Love Woody Harrelson. Love Tom Hardy. Again. Great cast. Horrible movie. Morbius. Let's talk about that piece of shit movie, because I was super excited for this film with Matt Smith being in it, and fucking horrible. So after Morbius, I swore off fucking live action Sony anything. So I don't plan on watching that or Kraven the Hunter. I don't even plan on watching that.
Do you know what was the biggest slap in my face when I watched Into the Spider-Verse in the sequel?
Mm-hmm.
Was when you see Donald Glover in the movie, and he's trapped, and he's supposed to be a version of the Prowler. For those of you who don't know Donald Glover's Childish Gambino, Donald Glover at one time really badly wanted to be I'm a brain fart. one of the best Spider-Man,
Yeah.
Miles.
Morales.
Yeah, he wanted to be Miles Morales. And when he was younger, he would have been Miles Morales. He was so vested in it. And his original hip hop stuff used to all be nerd rap, and it was all about shit that we liked. So when they kind of snubbed him, he did a song about it. He's got lyrics there, everything saying, "Look at me now," instead of, basically they shit on him. And then they put him in that movie, in that role. He took it because he wanted to be part of it. But that bothered me because I was like, that's what could have been. That would have been great.
No, he would have been great as Miles Morales. And I do love the animated Into the Spider-Verse films. Those are
My
good.
son grasped onto those hard. He loved them. So
those are good. And the first one, I think it was nominated or it won like the Academy Award for like best animated film that year or something.
Yeah, it was outstanding.
And when I saw that it was nominated, I was like, 100% agree. That movie's that good.
Yeah. I can't wait for the third one.
Yeah.
But we're getting into positives. That's the good stuff. I was more mad about the Don Glover thing. Okay, so hero movies as a whole for me. Too many, too much, too short a window. Hollywood, you're fucking out of your minds. So the fact that you have snubbed original independent artists, and I say this all the time, there are so many independent, talented directors and writers out there that are not getting the light of day and will never see these amazing, fresh ideas because all you guys want to do is cash in and cash in and cash in. And in turn, you're putting out a recycled garbage product. We're getting the oversaturation. If you couldn't tell already, 2023 literally has the nickname the death of the hero because we got Aquaman 2 and
so bad. It was so bad.
I mean, they were awful. The quick turn and burn shit's got to go. We got to see better. And so while I don't have faith in Mr. Gunn anymore, I do have high hopes. I want to see good. I want to see things happen. Now, I will say this, but it's going to go back to a negative. One of the most amazing things come out of Marvel was Loki. Loki was an excellent series. I thought it was done right, but it wouldn't have had to have been done if you didn't fuck everything up to begin with. And yes, I'm talking to Hollywood and Marvel.
Yeah.
Disney, whoever.
Well, and the thing is everything since the pandemic has been crap. I mean, just to be blunt, Marvel has fucked everything up other than a few things. I mean, Falcon Winter Soldier, okay. Loki, good. You got Deadpool, Wolverine coming, fantastic.
But these are all things to fix what they fucked up.
Yeah, because Ant-Man, that was garbage. That last Quantum Mania was fucking trash.
I did have high hopes.
I thought it was going to be like fantastic, and God was I wrong. And it was just like everything they have coming, everything they've put out, the Eternals. I mean, hell, they announced the other day that they're abandoning the Eternals because
now. But hold on, we're supposed to get what's his face from Game of Thrones. He's supposed to appear as the Black Knight in the Moon Knight show.
I thought he was showing up in Blade.
I've heard both.
I've heard both.
I forgot about the Blade aspect.
But even the list of what movies they have coming, I'm not interested.
Yeah,
there's nothing Marvel has on the table coming that I'm even remotely interested in.
I wasn't interested in X-Men.
Other than Wolverine, Deadpool.
I was interested in X-Men, and then they made that female, or they're saying it's going to be female fronted and focused. So there's balance opportunity there, so I could feel good about that. But like to me, like
I don't know. We'll see. I'm going to be excited for X-Men, and the thing with X-Men is, and I think a lot of people are going to miss is X-Men is always about acceptance and always about tolerance and so I can see more of a female. I can see more of a diverse cast. Really it needs to be a more diverse cast.
I'll say one thing to that. In X-Men 97, all you motherfuckers bitching about Morph, shut up. Just shut up. In my opinion, he became Jean Grey to comfort Wolverine, and everyone overread into the shit. But even if it was the case, and he's got a one-sided love thing going on, so what? Just let it fucking go.
I thought Morph was actually, they made him gay in the comics.
I don't remember that far with his character.
I thought they did in like recent years. And I may be wrong. If I am, correct me. But
he can change the shape of his body.
Yeah, I mean,
gender fluid as it gets.
I don't care. I have a Green Lantern tattoo on my arm, so
can't morph that away.
I I don't care if he is or he is.
But that aside, though, so with X-Men, I had a conversation. Actually, I think it was on our CineNerds page with somebody recently, where we started talking about some possibilities of things we'd like to see in representation, and I wouldn't mind if, to me, X-Men is as large of an entity as Avengers. And I think that's why they couldn't make everything happen the way I wanted to. But I think it needs to be approached the same way, and there needs to be the character development. Because I, for one, I can get down with a Storm movie. Like,
oh yeah,
I think a Storm movie with the right actress and the right director would be fucking phenomenal. And
a great Rogue film.
Well, hell yeah,
Rogue and Gambit,
dude. Rogue
do a
together.
film together.
Yeah. Like, I mean, you could do so much with that.
And cast the girl from.
Be careful.
Cast the girl from. What was she in? The girl she has like super blue eyes.
That one.
She was in like Percy Jackson, the Percy Jackson films.
Oh, she was in your movie. You're talking about the girl from what was the movie you liked? The sci-fi movie we were just talking about, where James would probably like. You talked about it in our last podcast.
Yeah, she's in something. She's in a ton of stuff. Like I think
know who you're talking about.
I think she's fantastic, and I can't remember her name right now, but like I think she would be the perfect girl as Rogue. So look up the cast of the Percy Jackson films if you don't know who I'm talking about.
So let me go back a little bit here. So I'll talk one more second about something that Marvel did right, and I think Star Wars to an extent did right. And I know that's not. I mean, it's kind of a hero film, but it's not. But I will say this. So there's the show Star Wars Visions, which I recently posted about, and then you've got Marvel What If. I think that Marvel should take the same approach as Star Wars Visions and allow all these independent, up-and-coming directors, writers to give opportunities and stories, tell stories on some of these amazing characters. And then maybe if there's something that really stands out, really jumps out, then start working with that person who's going to give you that fresh new look and that fresh approach that we so desperately need right now. Because I do want to love hero movies. I don't want them to go away. But at the same time, I'm not. The live action bullshit, it's garbage. I'm more going towards animation all day long, and I'm even going back to my roots with the anime. I love anime, and I'm going back to that.
Well, and I've said this in the past too. The problem, not giving new directors the opportunity, even new writers, and that's been a problem. And you want to make films to be diverse. You don't have to make it so blatantly obvious. You can look at what they did with Alien, with Ripley, that character, strong female character. I mean, you didn't have to be told. You didn't have to be told in all the promo. The film came out and it was great storytelling. Look at Terminator. Look at Terminator 2. Linda Hamilton. She was such a badass in that movie.
I agree. But so that gives your balance though to me. Yeah. And honestly, if I'm going to be forward about the Ripley scenario, I feel like Bishop was her counterpart.
Oh yeah.
And so I do feel like there is always room for the balance. I feel like but again, you're right. That storytelling and then that writing matters so greatly.
Or if you go to a newer film, and I'm sure what comes out this weekend is going to be just as good with
Furiosa. Fuck yeah.
Fucking excited for Furiosa.
I'm going to see that in IMAX. I haven't seen a movie in IMAX. I think I've seen one or two movies in IMAX. I'm going to that one in IMAX.
Yeah.
And my son's excited to see another Ryan Reynolds one, the If movie about imaginary creatures that are real.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So we're going to check that out too. So I think James said he was taking Lawson to see that as well. So we can chat back on that and report back in. But I don't know. I'm pretty bitter. I'm sorry if it didn't come across as bitter, but like there's a lot of things that need to be fixed as we move forward into this next hero phase.
Well, the problem is it needs to be fixed, but they have no characters. They don't even have Marvel doesn't have any really great actors in the MCU right now. Well, I mean, there's some. Don't get me wrong. There's some.
You're right. No, you hit it on the head for me.
But they're not even just the writing, the actors in these roles, and I hate to keep talking about her. Let's look at Brie Larson. She's a horrible actress. but not even so much her. I mean, you look at everybody. I can't even think of any other characters' names right now, but everybody they've introduced, I've not enjoyed.
To your point of the casting of some of the newer stuff, especially, I think it's time for a giant Hollywood reset. I think that we need some fresh faces in there. I think we need some unknowns, some different flavors, some different tastes, and we need to start getting this right.
Yeah, I mean,
directors too.
Even Oscar Isaac in
everything now,
and he plays was it Moon Knight, whatever his name,
Moon Knight, Poe Dameron.
Yeah,
it's like so much,
and he's another one. He's not that good of an actor. He's just a pretty face.
I do dig him. I'm not gonna lie. And he did. So he was like in the Star Wars movies. They were trying to make him the Han Solo guy. And so when he tried to channel that Harrison Ford, I was there for it. I could deal with it. I liked it. But it didn't translate like Harrison Ford. Nothing ever will.
No. Yeah. So I think Marvel at this point, they need to wipe the slate clean. They're almost to a point they need to start the fuck over.
Well, I'm hoping Wolverine and Deadpool is that.
Yeah.
I don't know what to expect out of Wolverine and Deadpool, and I think a lot of you guys are in the same boat. We've only been getting little glimpses, little tastes, and it's strategically done so. So the crossover characters, the theoreticals, the who we think we'll see in the movie, the different universes we'll see, all these things are going to matter, but then how it ends. Like, so sorry, this is a spoiler about Loki, so don't listen for a minute if you don't want to hear it, but Loki becoming the controller, if you will, the main man controlling all the different timelines, that's a huge moment for me. And if Deadpool's involved in that now, I'm curious to see how this is all going to translate. So
one other before we, because I know we're probably going to wrap this up here shortly. To move back to DC for a minute.
Why?
Because I want to. I got to make another rant here. We've ranted about Marvel for a while. I got to make another rant here, and this rant will make James angry. DC, for the fucking love of God, stop rebooting Batman. I am so sick and tired of seeing a new Batman every couple years and retelling the story. How many fucking times does fucking Thomas Wayne and Martha Wayne have to die? Please just do Batman Beyond. Give us Terry McGinnis Batman. Give us Keaton as Old Man Bruce. Fucking do it. Stop rebooting Batman. Done with it.
Well, let's hold on. This is a whole nother can of worms for me. The other thing about all these characters, all these heroes, is that we fucking know who they are. They've had comics for years, and most people can do a quick Google search nowadays. Hell, I think James has a pair of the new Ray-Ban glasses that are the Metas or whatever that can look shit up for you as you go, and you just tell it. The point I'm saying, though, is that we can all figure out a storyline. So start a fucking movie where things are already in motion. I do want character development. Don't get me wrong. I did say that earlier, but like Batman, that's one of those ones that I don't need the backstory. I just want to see him fucking shit up and let Batman kill some people. Like Batman, that's the whole thing of Batman. He's conflicted because he's going back and forth, and he kills when he feels it's right. That's what makes him a vigilante, but he doesn't kill because he's trying to be good. Do it right.
All I'm hearing in my head right now is that those YouTube videos of the Batman. He's like, he snaps the thug's neck and he goes,
like little comedy things.
He goes, oh, look, he's all tuckered out. He's asleep.
There's like a YouTube channel where it's just this dude spoofing Batman, and I know what you're talking about. It's great.
I keep seeing questions about my tea. Yes, it's extra sweet tea.
This is why I'm rambling. Extra sweet midnight cherry C4. I'm gonna vent. Since you said Batman, I'm gonna vent about Bale. I love the Dark Knight trilogy. Don't get me wrong, but for the fucking love of God, why, when everyone finds out who he is, does he keep doing the fucking voice? There's no reason if they know who you are. Pissed me off so bad. Anyways.
Oh, fuck Batman.
You're just fucking with James now.
To quote Robin from the Titans TV series, which is another great live action DC series.
I like Doom Patrol too.
Fuck Batman.
If you have any questions about any of the things we're talking about today, or any of the series that we've discussed or movies that we've discussed, please feel free to sound off in the comments, or you can email us at 3cinenerds@gmail.com. And if you're feeling up to it, we've got a link on our bio on the Facebook page that'll take you to all the platforms that we're streaming on, as well as our little merch store. And get yourself some CineNerds merch. Yeah. What else?
Leave us a review. Actually, I had some reviews that were posted on our Facebook page.
No.
However, my Facebook page has been suspended because they couldn't prove that my identity. I had to scan a picture of my face today. So I'm waiting to hear back if they're going to accept that my Facebook page of JP Cross is actually me. So yeah, I couldn't access my Facebook. So in the meantime, you can't talk to me on Facebook.
You can talk to me.
You can talk to him. You can comment on the CineNerds. You can write a review on the CineNerds Facebook page. You can go to Apple Podcasts, write a review, give us a rating, go to Spotify, give us a review. And please do that because I do want to read them. And I know I had some on Facebook, but I just cannot access some of them right now.
Reviews do help, so we do appreciate reviews.
And you can go in and invite your friends to the page, invite your friends to come over to the YouTube channel, subscribe, go to the Spotify, go to their Apple Podcast, subscribe.
So we got a couple of reviews. Sorry, we got Mr. Jeremy Schick. A great show about movies with a great sense of humor and some genuinely excellent banter. Star Wars, Walton Goggins, Star Wars. Well said, Jeremy. And then we got Rick Paulton. Awesome podcast with awesome guys. Well, thank you both, guys. Appreciate the reviews, and you guys are quality, awesome gents. So, Jeremy, we got to meet in real life, by the way, because you and I definitely see eye to eye with a lot of shit. So
every now and then he ventures out of his house. It's once every 3 years, 2 years, and he'll venture up here and you'll see me. You'll stop by the house. So next time you plan that, just let us know, and Ryan will come down
for sure.
So
awesome. Well, we'll quit rambling at that. And
did you get our email?
I said it already.
Oh, okay.
But I'll say it again. 3cinenerds@gmail.com. Is the email. So we always love the suggestions and fun like that. We're definitely looking for some topics for our live episodes. We've got some ideas in mind, but we'd love to hear some. So keep them coming. Okay.
All righty. Till next time.
He's JP.
I was waiting on you to say goodbye.
I'm Batman.